Hello and welcome to Gank
Gank That
That Drank.
Drank. Oh, it got all over my computer.
Uh-oh.
It's fine.
A supernatural drinking game podcast. It's Gank That Drank, a
Yeah.
supernatural drinking game podcast. It's what it is. I'm pouring, which is why it's like, I hope you
And
can hear
I'm
that.
I'm simultaneously sipping and then cleaning beer spray off of my computer.
Last time it got all over my microphone. This time it got all over your computer. We're living on the edge.
Heck
We're
yeah.
living on the edge.
Living on the edge. Yeah. This show we like to take our favorite show, which is Supernatural, in all its glory and amazingness, and we try to curate the perfect drinking game for all our favorite episodes, at least that we're doing right now, and give
Oh,
it to you, the listener, to partake in said drinking games while watching Supernatural along with yourself. So yeah, that's what we're all about.
we're gonna recap the episode for you too, so you
Oh yeah,
don't need to worry about it if you can't take the time out to pause and watch and play along or whatever. If you just don't have time to watch the episode and play along, we're gonna recap the episode for you, so you can drink along with us as we
as
tell
we
you what
recap it.
happens in the episode.
And yes, I promise that this episode in my recap, I have marked much better where all the drinking points are. So hopefully that is true for this episode. No promises in the future, but we will try.
We always try. We don't always succeed.
No. But yeah, so today, Krissy,
Well, wait.
this
Who are
what?
you?
Oh, I
Who are
forgot to
you?
who am I? I'm not Jean Valjean 24601. No. I'm Nate McWhorter of the Neighborhood Comedy Theater, a performer and teacher and all sorts of stuff at the Neighborhood Comedy Theater in downtown Mesa, Arizona. Krissy, who are you?
I'm Krissy Lenz, also of the Neighborhood Comedy Theater in downtown Mesa, Arizona. That's who we are.
That's what we do. Other than drink and watch Jensen Ackles and Jared
Supernatural.
Padalecki solve monster mysteries. Yeah.
Yes. And sometimes it's a Brothers Light episode. You know, when they do this on Doctor Who, they call it a Doctor Light episode. So I guess
Oh,
this Light episode that we're
a
doing
Brothers
tonight.
Light episode. Yes. Which gets into one of our rules of the episode. I didn't know that. I think it called Doctor Light. Doctor
Yes,
Light
and
sounds like
some of the
a
best Doctor
knockoff
Who
Diet
episodes are
Dr.
Doctor
Pepper.
Light.
that's like is that the like Kroger brand Diet Dr. Pepper, Dr. Light?
Yep, Doctor Light. It's a watered down doctor.
I'm trying to think of Dr. Light episodes that would have been.
So the one with the weeping angels, the one with the
Oh yeah.
Absorbaloff.
Yep. Yeah, I think I got some more that are kind of popping in my brain now. Well, join us on our Doctor Who drinking podcast whenever we get that started up.
Yeah, that's next.
Find out all about that. But this is Supernatural, and Krissy, today's episode is my episode. And for that, I have chosen a classic Halloween episode back in season 8, episode 4. The episode title is Bitten. Yes. So this is an awesome, excellent episode. I enjoy it. There's some things I don't enjoy about it. We'll get into it. But here are our drinking game rules.
Lay it on me.
Our first rule is toxic masculinity. Now, at the when I talked about this rule at the end of our last episode in prep for this one, I did say this was going to be a very subjective rule.
Right.
Because I think the whole episode could just be titled toxic masculinity, but
yes, it should be titled "Fragile Egoed Boy."
Yes, is really what it. Yeah, college freshman can't stand life. That's what it could be called, but it's not called that. It's called Bitten, and we're gonna play toxic masculinity as a rule. To your best, like whenever you feel just kind of like gross. That's like a gross guy thing. Just take a drink. We're playing a rule called Look, it's the boys. As we mentioned, the boys are not in this episode a whole lot. It's boys light. So anytime we see the boys, we're taking a drink.
Yeah.
Take a drink for a mirror shot anytime someone is. So this episode, just I guess, obviously we'll get into it, but it's very much a first person, like Blair Witch paranormal activity.
It's like a found footage.
Found
Yeah.
footage. Yes, that's. Thank you. That's the phrase I was looking for. Found footage. Which then, yeah, I have one qualm. We'll get to it. There's one bit of footage that I'm like, how'd they find this? How did she put this together? There's no possible way. And the next rule that we have, so yeah, we do mirror shot, then kissing anytime people are smooching.
So much smoochies.
There's a lot of smooching in this episode.
Yeah.
Anytime someone references the movie, like the movie that they're making, kind of or whatever. Again, it's found footage. Anytime we got some broken furniture, taking a drink.
Love that rule.
Yeah, it's a classic, and we don't, like I feel like it's one that we're always like, oh yeah, and there doesn't happen as often as you think. But this episode, it happens.
It happens a lot.
And then someone dies. We're taking a drink if someone dies. So I was a little worried at the beginning of this when I was rewatching, and I was like, "There's not as many people. No, people die." And then when the credits roll, when like the the credits, not like the end credits, but like the credits that you see on the screen while stuff's going on, we're finishing our drink.
Okay, I was confused by that, so you're gonna have to explain to me.
Oh,
what,
okay.
because I was like, I was expecting the movie to have credits.
Oh no, I just mean like the supernatural credits, like when
they
were
like, at the end instead of
because
at
they
the
were
beginning.
at the end. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. I kept rewinding it to see if the movie that they made had credits.
Nope. No, just
And
the
I was just
credits.
missing them.
I would have been impressed if her character had put together credits scene or credits at the end of the film. That would have been
I thought
something.
maybe you meant there's a moment where like they are showing like the clips of all of them in happier times. I was like, maybe that's what he meant.
No, I just I enjoy an episode where they run the beginning credits at the end. That happens a few times throughout the show's run, and I think no, Scooby Natural is not one of those. I'm trying to think. I feel like we've done one recently where that happened as well, where it's kind of. I think maybe we did Hellhazer so long ago, or not Hellhazers, Ghostfacers. I think Ghostfacers might be. I think is one of those too, where it's like because you watch Ghostfacers the whole time, and then when you get to the end and you get like the scene with the boys, then they roll credits. Yeah, so those are the rules. I've got a couple other like rules that I kind of wrote down as like if you want to play these, they're good. Also, like nominees.
I was gonna nominate every time Dean says awesome.
Yeah, so I meant to put that one in there and I forgot. Because yes, awesome would be a great rule to play, especially because they make fun of him for it in the episode. And then there's a lot of pop culture references in here, but we play that rule a lot. But you could have done specifically Lord of the Flies references. Quite a few times. So those are like optional rules if you're really feeling froggy and up for it. Awesome is a good one. I did not mark the awesomes, but definitely
I didn't either
because they make fun of it, and I'm sure he says it in nearly every scene he's in, and especially the one at the end. It's so good. So, are you ready to get into Bitten?
I'm ready for Bitten. I'm ready to get bitten and be bitten.
All right, let's do this. There is no then sequence for this episode. The only thing we really kind of get a glimpse into is that Dean has been gone for a year because he's been in purgatory following season 7's bout with the Leviathans. So that's where we're at in the supernatural timeline. We see the boys I've walked into, which by the way, that's our first. I know that it's technically we're not like into the movie within the movie yet, But look,
I
it's the
counted it.
boys. Yeah, look, it's the boys. So the boys, they walk into a very bloody scene with a cool old school like iPod on a dock sound speaker. Like it's not Bluetooth. Like you had to just like plug it. Yeah, it reminded me of fond times when they
Mhm.
take off the song. The song that's playing is like what's been going on with you lately, which is like perfect for this episode. So the boys walk in. There's a couple bloody bodies. They got no idea who these bodies are, and there's blood all over the walls. They're very kind of just like taken aback. They got no clue what's going on, and then they look over and they notice on the laptop there is a sticky note that says "Play me." And so, of course, what do? They go over, they press play, and we get Supernatural title card.
Pew, 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 pew.
Yeah, which I guess like the very beginning of the movie is like none of this should have ever happened or whatever.
Mhm,
Is our
mhm.
is Kate saying that? So we start the movie within the show, and we have these couple of college aged guys hanging out at a cafe, playing around with their camera or whatever, and they're like using it to kind of shoot some. They're creeping on some girls across the way, a table of
Mhm.
girls, and
Mhm.
so I went ahead and marked a little toxic masculinity just for that because of course
Yeah.
we got a camera,
Yeah.
we gotta shoot the girls with it.
Yeah.
Why not? Let's be creeps. So the boys are messing around and then they're focusing. They kind of zoom in on one that's this blonde girl, and she's like, "Oh, those guys are creeping on me." And she comes over and kind of like outs them a little bit of like, "What are you weirdos doing?" But of course, one of the boys, Brian, uh, who I definitely pulled up actors' names for this episode so I could shout them out. Brian, played by Lee Parker, is kind of the nerdier guy, uh,
Mhm.
and then you have Michael,
Michael.
who is the jockey. He's not necessarily a jock, but he's definitely like built and very easy on the eyes and like traditionally good looking. Anyway, played by Brandon Jones. Um, and then we will get to meet Kate, who is played by Britt Sheridan, and Kate also, I believe, back in our Supernatural universe
Mhm.
eventually, but we'll get to that. So we have they're creeping on Kate. Kate comes over. She starts flirting with Mike because she's like, I like a guy with a good camera. And like, of course, she knew it was this other guy's camera. He's the president of the AV club. But she doesn't care about the camera. She cared about the guy behind the camera. Well, that doesn't matter to that nerdy dude.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're creeping on. That's some toxic masculinity. The Michael and Kate, they start hooking up. Basically, we get a little scene of them with, again, this guy's like creepily always recording. Like, why do you record everything? But you know what? That's what people do these days. Um, and so then after we see like, oh, they got together for the night or whatever, it feels like the next day we're back at the cafe or whatever. Maybe like a week later or whatever. We're back at the cafe. We're still
Yeah, time
cameras
has
always in the
passed.
can. Yeah, time has definitely passed. And Brian is like, you know that Mike knows nothing about cameras, right? And she's like, yeah, I'm teaching him. Like, you freaking weirdo. And then that's where Mike comes in. We get a little smooch. That's our first kiss of the episode. Is
Take a
in
drink.
there. Yep, taking a drink. We cut back to like the house that I guess like all three of them share now. Like that was, it seems all this seemed to move real quick. The Kate and
Yeah.
Michael situation. Obviously, time has passed, but it seems like it makes it all seem like it happens real quick. And this is where we get the where do you think you're gonna, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Which is a very silly question. And I was, have you ever been asked that in a job interview, Krissy?
No.
I have been asked that in a job interview.
Yeah.
It's a very silly question. I was asked for it in a job interview for an internship,
Oh.
like right out of college. Like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I was like, I only know, like, I'm applying for a job for 6 months.
Yeah.
I don't
It's
know.
not even a real
Uh,
job.
yeah, I think I gave the answer of whatever I'm doing, I hope it's something that has a good impact on my community. That's what I said, I believe.
That's a good answer. That's a really good
That
answer. I would hire you.
literally was the response from the person who interviewed me was, "That's a really good answer." I'm like, "Look, I can
Yeah.
BS with the best of them.
Heck
That's
yeah.
what I can
Get
do."
that internship.
That's that answer will stay the same forever as long as I am asked it.
Yep.
Yeah, so we get this like whole like where we that's also we get some more smooching in this scene. So take another
Yep.
drink,
More drinks. Smooch
more
City.
drinks. I thought about claiming Michael's desire to just be on a boat in the ocean with his girl by his toxic masculinity, but you can have dreams. That could be
Yeah.
any. That could be a woman's
That
dream.
seems kind of mellow. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That wasn't like toxic or anything, but it did. Part of me was like, really, guy. Anyway, then so we see them in class, then in a lecture hall, and Brian is recording the lecture, and he's like zooming in on the lapel of this professor, which is going to be pretty important later on. They really
And Michael
telegraph a
is
lot of stuff.
sleeping.
Yeah, Michael's dead asleep. We get them like after the class, and he's like, "Duh, Did you record it for me?" And he's like, I did." I also want to know why this is very obviously college
Right.
because like Dean refers later on to like, oh, come for the human heart, stay for the co-eds as far as the werewolf goes, and then like they're like, oh, hit the dorms. So it's very obviously college, and these kids seem like they're college age. Who reads Lord of the Flies in college?
Yeah, that's a very high school book.
That's like a freshman high school book. That's like early. I read it in like either elementary or middle school. I read that book.
Yeah, I'm
Who's
pretty
who?
sure
What?
Rocket did it in 7th grade.
Yeah, what teacher? What college professor? That guy should have been fired for teaching Lord of the Flies to college kids. I thought it was very
Yeah.
strange,
I thought that
but I
was
guess
strange too.
they really kind of just try to jam that metaphor or that analogy into this episode, and that's why I feel like
Maybe
it could have
it
been a
was
really good
like
drinking rule.
maybe it was a film class. Is there a Lord of the Flies movie? Maybe they were talking about the movie.
Oh, maybe. Oh, it could be.
That's a stretch.
That is a stretch, but I'll buy it. I'll buy it. I'm buying. It
Okay.
felt like an English 101 class to me, but
It did. It
I'll
really
buy the
did.
it's a movie class, so they're talking about Lord of the Fries. Lord of the Fries.
Mm.
Yeah, so we get this like kind of beef with this bully after class. This guy comes by and like knocks him down, like bumps into them, knocks Brian down, and Mike's like, "Hey, watch it, man." So I marked that all as some toxic masculinity. The whole just like we all gotta act tough,
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
dudes, even like that's where like again, like you go from this scene of like Lord of the Flies to then these guys acting very much like high schoolers, and it's like, are they in? Like at the beginning, I was still kind of unsure. Um,
If they
but
were in
that
college
lecture
or
hall,
high
that's a
school?
big old class for a high school. Like it has to be college. So yeah, we get this little beef with this guy who we're gonna then like see a little bit later on, and then the next scene is them like coming. They're coming back to the house or whatever, and then there's like all this police and everything, and this is where look, it's the boys,
Look at the
because
boys.
there's been a murder.
Murder. A creepy heart removal murder.
Yes, the heart removed. I counted this as someone dies, even though we didn't see it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
okay.
think it counts.
So we got someone dies, and we got look, it's the boys. So we're taking
Back to
drinks
back.
there. Uh, they're like, they're like, oh my gosh, someone's been murdered, and like Kate's like, I can't believe you don't really care about this, Brian. That's kind of weird. Um, we get the scene back in the house, and Mike puts on some music, and he's like, hey babe, do you like this? And she's like, yeah, what is it? He's like, it's the song that's playing when we met. And then they smooch.
Oh,
So there's like a
smooch,
couple
smooch,
kisses. I think there's
smooch.
like two kisses in that whole scene where they're all just like
Mm.
still hanging out. I wouldn't hang out with someone who held a camera all the time. Also, in order to be shooting as constantly as they were, the house, there had to have been a corner of just battery packs
Yeah.
and either like maybe SD cards, but like we're really kind of like on the, I guess we're mostly into SD card territory at this time, so not a lot of tapes or anything you got to worry about, but battery packs out the yin yang in this house. There has to be.
Well, and
Um,
also it's weird that they were all doing it. They were all responsible for filming the movie. It's not like one of them had the camera
a
the whole
movie that
time.
had
It
no
was her
clear like,
and him and
yeah, and I almost made one of the rules: anytime there's a shot of someone holding a camera, but
that
it's
would have
like
been too much.
all the
Yeah.
time. It's
It's the whole
constantly.
thing.
Yeah, it's almost the whole thing. But I really wanted to do it because I thought it was fascinating how often there was just like two
Someone
cameras
with a
at every
camera in their
single
hand.
scene. Yeah.
Filming
So,
these lame moments that have no bearing on anything.
right. Like, oh man. Okay, I'll have a small rant about her putting this whole thing together at the end, that there's no way she could have done it. But I guess she's a werewolf, so she has superpowers. And one of those powers must be the power to edit faster than anyone on Earth. Um,
Yep. I think so.
so,
Well, I got the impression that he was sort of editing it as they went because they would show him like editing footage. So, and she does say
true,
she finished his movie. So I think
true.
he was kind of editing it a little bit as they went.
Then kudos to Mr. Bryan for the whole time along making himself seem like the villain in the editing,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it very much portrays him when it's edited as being a bad guy, which I don't think he would have done. But yeah, no, I think you're right, spot on with that one. Um, so they boop, 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 boop. The two rapscallions, that be Michael and Brian, they, after this little powwow at the house, they're gonna go shoot some stuff. And like Kate's like, you guys are just gonna go shoot like jackass outtakes or whatever. Like, okay. So they're like just futzing around in like a tree. Brian's
Yeah.
like hanging upside down, and he's like, it feels cool. And that's when, look, it's the boys.
Look at the
Uh,
boys.
and they see the boys, and the boys are like kind of still stumped. They don't really get like a whole ton of info out of this encounter, but it's mostly just like, oh, yep, they're those guys. And then they go and they're like then creeping on the bully from earlier. The guy, not bully. I don't want
Mhm.
to
Yeah.
put that on this guy. He maybe he's aggressive. He like ran into these guys earlier, but who knows if it's a constant bullying situation.
Well,
Um,
he's being really handsy with the girl who's saying no, no,
yes.
no.
So I had that as toxic masculinity for sure. This
Same.
like jerk
Same.
Scott, like kind of like getting real too aggressive with his makeout friend, but that's some kissing and some toxic masculinity.
Back to back.
And also, you kind of talk to masculinity of boys creepily shooting people kissing from the bushes, is also pretty.
Yeah.
I don't know, just weird and gross. I don't think anyone would do that.
Mhm. Mhm.
So yeah, spying on them, and then they like kick some trash, and all of a sudden Scott's the bully guy, and he's like, "What do you guys do? Oh, I'm gonna come get you." He chases him into the woods, and we stay with Michael. The camera stays with Michael. Michael kind of like runs out there, and then all of a sudden he's like hearing some rustling or whatever, and then he gets straight up taken, and bit.
Yeah. So that's the Blair Witch moment is when he's filming his own face with the light and the camera
Mm-hmm.
in his own face. Like that's a very Blair
Mm-hmm.
Witch reference shot.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. I will also say, before I forget this point, I just rewatched. I've been rewatching X Files, and I just rewatched the X Files Cops episode
Mhm.
where they did X Files like cops, and for like the
Yeah.
first half of that episode, they think it's a werewolf. So very much like they even make X Files reference in this episode and everything, but like it
They
had very
do.
similar vibes to this episode of Supernatural. As I was
Mm-hmm.
watching it. I mean, like I watched that episode of X Files years and years and years ago, and then and it came on. I was like, this is almost like the first half of it's almost identical to Supernatural to this episode. It's
Mm-hmm.
crazy. Um, so
Well, it's all Kim
we
Manners, right?
well exactly. That's why I was like, it's actually been really cool to sit and watch X Files watch it again after having watched Supernatural, because you see so many things that you're like, oh wow, they do this in Supernatural. She brings this to Supernatural. Oh, like look at
Mm-hmm.
like, they just which is why it's also one of my favorite rules that we play sometimes.
Yeah.
Where am I? Yeah, so Michael gets bit. Now he's bit,
Take it.
and he gets taken. He gets bit, and they get him back to the house, and they're all freaking out. Kate's freaking out. She's got 911 on the phone. They get the clothes around his wound off, and the bite has healed.
It's gone.
She's like, "Did you guys just punk?" Did she? I don't know if she said punk. I
I think she
think
does. Did you guys
she
just
does.
punk me?
You guys just punk me. That was a great reference. So everything seems to be fine until then the next day when it's
He pulls a door off a hinge.
he's just like kind of like zombie around the house and pulls the door off the hinge, and then it's like, oh, he's super strong now. And that's where we get more another kiss in this moment when he's like playing around with Kate or whatever. And then Brian starts setting up his like paranormal activity setup where he like puts cameras in the corners of the rooms and stuff. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then he also then tries to proposition Mike to bite him. I want to do what you do, he says. So I mark that as toxic masculinity, just the like pure envy of strength and power, and like
Mm-hmm.
desire for power, even no matter what consequences it may come. So I put that down as some toxically masculine stuff.
Perhaps the most toxic of all the masculinity.
Absolutely, it's the absolute through line of this
Because
episode.
he
And
specifically says that he wants to get ass.
yes, yeah, he does say that line, and that's what just makes it like, ugh, gosh, dude. Maybe if you stopped focusing on how you don't get ass and just lived, the ass would
Maybe if
come
you
to
didn't
you.
refer to it as getting ass.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that too. That's
exactly.
also that. There's some things you could work on as a human
Yeah,
being. So,
he could do some
uh,
improvement.
definitely, definitely could use some. The boys come around. Look, it's the boys.
Look at the
Uh, we
boys.
we gotta hide the bong because it's the FBI. They still think they're FBI, and the boys come around. They ask a few questions. Everyone's mum on it, and then they kind of like spy on them through the camera afterwards. And they're like, "Oh, this could be another Mayan god." And then Mike is like,
Mhm.
"I am a golden god." I think I marked that as toxic masculinity too. Thinking
Oh,
you're a
really?
god. I don't know. So
This is when you get the mirror shot, though. He goes and
yes,
looks in the mirror.
then you get the mirror shot. So the next scene is then Mike gets out of bed. He goes to the bathroom. He gets the mirror. He goes to the mirror, and uh, this is when he like starts growing some fangs. His eyes change. The nails grow out. He's like, oh, kind of freaking out. He punches the mirror, so we get a good mirror shot. And then he goes and like looks for, like tears through the fridge. He's eating everything in sight. Can't ever satiate his appetite.
Nope. There's
The
nothing that
next
can cure what hungers him.
no, well, there is one thing. He just doesn't know what it
One
is yet.
thing.
He's gonna find out here in a bit. So the next cut, this is the part that I really look. Maybe they were editing the whole time, and they had this movie together and all this. How did they get this footage?
Right.
Uh,
Exactly.
this footage is from completely different people. Why do they have cameras? Are they also into the AV club or whatever? Like, is that how they know everyone knows each other?
Hmm.
I'm wondering, maybe, possibly. How'd they get this footage?
How'd they get this footage?
How? I want to know.
It's the hole.
It's the biggest hole in this whole episode is how this footage gets found. So the footage is, of course, it's
The
Scott who we met
jocks
earlier, and then some of his friends, and they're like they got bats. They're like straight trying to like
and a
Negan
hockey
this
stick
and
and
a
like a
hockey stick
cricket
because they're gonna
mallet.
take out the thing that murdered Carter or whatever, the nameless neighbor character that was killed earlier. That we're gonna protect these streets for you fine honeys. So I got some toxic masculinity there,
Yep.
with those guys and the whole thing. Then they see Mike, who's just like coming back from the grocery store with like a bunch of stuff, and they're like, "Hey, you!" And he's like, "Not tonight, not the night, guys." Well, they think it's the night, and they chase him. And then the kind of like last thing we see from this guy's camera is Mike like roaring and jumping on top of him.
Mm-hmm.
One dies. Poor Scott. We hardly
Poor
knew ye.
Scott. Yeah, we knew
We just
you.
knew
We knew
ye
you
as
as
a
a toxic jerk.
jerk bully, but not
Yeah.
even that much. Not again. Who knows? Maybe Scott has his own things going on, and like maybe he's just having a bad couple days. But he also was kissing the girl way too aggressive. Yeah. Anyway, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
me. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
apologizing for Scott. Uh, so
Yeah.
Uh, bu- 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 bu. Sorry, my handwriting is so hard to read sometimes.
Oh, you got bad penmanship.
I have very bad penmanship. So he kills Scott. Then
He comes home
Brian
all
and Kate,
bloody.
yeah, comes home all bloody. Brian and Kate are like, we get this great moment. I love this. This is probably my favorite like camera action of the whole episode. Is the oh my god, and like flips, like he's like moving the camera side to side, and he flips it back for the god part, and there's Mike like all bloody. And then the next cut is like him in the shower. They're like, "Hey, you want to say what happened?" He's like, "I killed Scott. I think I killed Scott. He
Yeah.
started talking about you. I saw red. I think I killed him. He definitely knows he killed him."
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so that's now everyone's a little bit worried because in that conversation before Mike walked in, Brian was like, "Are you scared of him at all? Are you, Kate? Are you scared of this guy?" And no, I don't know, but she's not. She
Oh,
is still.
she's taking it all very much in stride. Like
Oh,
she is taking it
absolutely.
all with a grain of salt. She's not shocked or
Nope,
frightened by anything that Michael does. And she
not one
says
bit.
like, "You've never been in love," but it's like, I have, and if he came home with a bloody mouth saying he killed someone, I'd be a little perturbed. I'd have a question or two.
But if you were in love at 19, Krissy.
I was in love at 19, and I guarantee I would have had some questions.
Yeah, definitely a disturbing moment. So we get to this is when then the first kind of scuffle happens
Yeah. Yeah.
between, well, not yet, I don't think, because
Okay.
first they go spy on the boys a
Yeah,
little bit.
she goes with a camera to the crime scene.
Yes, she goes to the camera of the crime scene to see what's up with the boys, and or to see what's going on, what they're finding. So look, it's the boys.
Look at the
um
boys.
and this is where I think Brian goes too, because he learned that the victim's heart was eaten. So then they're like, "Did you eat a guy's heart? Like what is?" And she's like, "It was probably self defense." And he's like, "Self defense? He ate a guy's heart? That doesn't sound like self defense."
No, it sure
And
doesn't.
so Brian's like pushing the issue, and Mike punches him like across the room and over a table. So we got broken furniture for the first time.
Broken furniture. Take a drink.
So Kate then after like this punch, which is very emotionally traumatic for Brian or for Mike, she's like consoling Mike, and Brian is shooting the two of them laying on the couch from like the other room or whatever. But the reason I wrote this down, it's not very important, but we get a mirror shot.
Oh, okay. I didn't notice
Yeah.
it.
It's like a small mirror shot. He like kind of shoots himself in a mirror behind them or whatever, right at the end of the scene. It's very subtle. but it's definitely a mirror shot.
Take a drink.
Take a drink. So then Kate and Brian go, or Kate and Michael this time go to spy on the boys again, who are like down at like animal rescue or whatever, to see if they, because like the boys think that
Mhm.
at this point like it might be a werewolf, but the moon's not right. So we got to look. It's the boys, but
Look at the boys.
Brian follows Mike and Kate. Uh, and so then you get him coming around with the camera. I have that as toxic masculinity, because
Yeah.
they're like, how did you find us? He's like, I GPS on your phones, duh. So that's
Yeah,
why.
he's inserting himself into a situation where he's not welcome.
Correct. So he's definitely being very toxic in that situation. But that does not keep them from partnering up with him to spy on the boys some more as they go eat some dinner because Dean needs to feed the beast, as
Yeah.
he says. And we go to a restaurant. Mike's the one who walks in with the camera in the bag to spy on the boys. Once again, another very subtle mirror shot.
Okay, I missed that
Because
one too.
yeah, as so he's shooting the boys through the bag or whatever, and then there's a big mirror on the wall behind the boys, and you can see Michael in the mirror with his like
Oh,
earpiece in
okay.
and everything. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, that I couldn't believe that. I was like, oh dang, that didn't even think I was gonna get that one, and then and there it
Good
was.
eyes. Good
Yeah.
eyes.
Um, so we get the cool mirror shot. The boys are like digging into the lore, and they're like, it turns out if you're an alpha, or if you're bitten by a descendant of the alpha, you don't have to wait for the lunar cycle. You don't black out when you change. Like you kind of you're like werewolf light or like werewolf express. You can just like change
Yeah.
whenever you want and whatever. But a lot of them eat animal hearts to stay under the radar and to satiate somewhat their appetite for human hearts and all this.
And
So
did
they're
you
digging it.
notice that they found that bit of information in Dad's journal?
I did not. I would notice they had the big dusty book. It looked like they had two big dusty books to me, but one of them was the journal.
One of them was Dad's journal, yeah. So
Nice.
still in season 8, we're referring to
Hell
Dad's journal.
yeah. Hell yeah. Love it. Even though we're about to get to Granddad.
Yep.
We're about to get, speaking of X-Files. Um so now Mike is like, "Oh my god, I'm a werewolf. I got to eat chicken hearts the rest of my life. What the hell? This
Hmm.
is going to be the worst."
Yeah, how do you get chicken hearts?
I'm
Where
sure
do you
you
get
can
them?
buy them. Like you probably got to go to certain stores to get them.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you can get
So
it over the counter, then there's nothing to be that fussed about. If you have to kill a chicken every time you need a
no,
snack.
I think you can buy. I think it is something that people do cook up,
Well,
like
I know they
fry
cook up
it.
like giblets and chicken feet, but
Yeah, but
like I
maybe
don't
not
know about
hearts. Yeah, I don't know.
well, or maybe hearts. I don't know. I know that in a
Mm,
lot of cultures, eating the organ meat is considered, really normal and positive. So maybe
mhm.
I'm being culturally insensitive.
Well, I think, like I said, yeah, I don't know for sure, but I imagine you'd, if you went to a certain store, you could probably buy some chicken hearts. I feel like
Okay.
you'd have
All
it.
right.
I don't know.
Well, then what are you complaining about? Just
Right, right.
find the right resource and you're good to go.
Well, Brian decides he's gonna take he takes this information about the alphas and everything, and he's like reviewing footage from Mike's attack when he notices the lapel from the professor that we saw earlier, the lapel pin, and pretty like distinct insignia or whatever. So
Yeah,
then
it's like an
Brian,
alpha omega or something like
hmm
that.
yeah. So Brian takes matters into his own hands, and he goes to this professor's office, and he's basically puts a camera in his face, puts a camera up in the corner, and he doesn't know about it, and then puts one in his face, and he's like, "I know what you are," and he then is trying to convince the professor to bite him, to turn him into a werewolf.
Mhm.
Um, And so I have this whole scene down, the whole interaction of him and the professor down as toxic masculinity. Plus, there's actually another subtle mirror shot in this scene. I don't know how
I
subtle it
noticed
is.
it. I noticed it. I noticed that one.
Yeah, in the bookcase, in the glass
Yeah.
bookcase.
It was very subtle. I give myself credit.
Yes. So good job. We get the mirror shot, and then um, we kind of are like at this point cutting between that office, the scene in the office with the professor, and then cutting back to Brian with Kate and Mike saying, like, I already took care of everything. Look at me. I can do it. What you can do now. I had him bite me. And they're like, how could you do this, Brian? How could you? Like, he's like, you have no idea what this thing is inside of me, that like how I'm feeling, all this stuff, like like, you idiot. And he's like, why? I just want to be just like you, and now, like, I can be. Besides, I saved your life. Keep presses play, and we find the boys, or the next, after the professor, like, Brian leaves or whatever, and the professor throws some chairs around, and he finds the
Yeah, he's
camera.
breaking that furniture. Breaking it.
Oh, all the broken furniture. And then the boys come in, and they're like, they take him out. They take him out.
Yeah,
They get
they
him.
do. And when he dies, he says thank you.
Yes. So someone dies.
Someone dies.
Um, that's, yeah, and that sucks. It sucks for that professor. He did so good. And in his whole confession, he was like, "I moved here 10 years ago. I did kill someone then, but like I've been really good ever since. And then like I fell off the wagon and ate that guy's heart last week, and then I needed a patsy." Like, he does the whole like James Bond villain kind of thing. I mean, they both,
Yeah.
him and Brian, kind of combo it. So then we get back to, yeah, after the boys kill the professor, we're back with Brian, Kate, and Mike, and this is like, to me, the grossest of all the gross toxically masculine lines in the whole freaking episode, where he's like, "I did it to protect you. I did what he
Did
couldn't
what you
do
couldn't
because he's not
do.
man enough. Blah, 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 but I love you." He says that after he kills Michael anyway.
Yeah. Kills Michael.
Yeah, so we
What?
have a fight. They have a fight. They fight it out. And he
They
kills
break so
Michael.
much furniture.
Lots of broken furniture. Um, what's SD again? Oh yeah, and then yeah. So Brian kills Michael, stabs him with a silver knife, and Michael dies, and Kate's really upset about it. And then, of course, like, Brian and his stupid, broken, dumb boy brain is like, "Oh, I did it because I love you. Wait till you're a werewolf, you'll see." And she's like, "No, if you, I don't want to do this. I don't want that to be my life. It looks miserable. Like, this has ruined everything." And he's like, "But come on." And he, of course, then, like, basically attacks her. He bites her. She
Yeah.
goes into the bathroom. We get a mirror shot. She's
Mirror
crying.
shot.
She's concerned. These wounds are taking quicker and quicker to heal, because she heals like pretty much instantly after. She heals that she like breaks a bunch of furniture in the bathroom. So we got like I got more broken
The
furniture in the
sink. Yeah.
bathroom, the sink, and the shower, and
The
everything.
shower door. Yeah.
Yeah. So then she's like, "Okay, Brian, I see it now. I'm ready." And she opens the door, and he's like, "Yeah, really? You think?" And of course not. She freaking kills him. Uh,
Yep.
so another someone
She kills
dies.
him so bloody. Like, she just is just like slashing him to ribbons and like casting his blood all over the walls. Like, the
How
place
could
is
you not?
covered in
Like,
blood.
I would be very mad at that guy at that point, for
Yeah.
so many things. So she kills Brian. Then we get like the little montage that she puts together at the end of their movie about, them all saying where they want to be in 5 years, which includes a kiss.
It does.
We cut back to the boys. Look, it's the boys.
Look at the
Also, we
boys.
had a look. I forgot to say the look. It's the boys for the professor, but yeah, when they kill him. But look, it's the boys.
Look at the
Um,
boys.
and we get back to the boys, and they're just like, "Okay, well, now this whole bloody house and bodies, everything makes sense." Um,
Yeah. Which,
And
like,
we
how
have.
long do they sit there in that house full of bloody dead people watching that movie? Like 45 minutes? Is it
I
a
have
real
to
time
imagine.
thing?
Yeah, I don't know. Did we see the whole thing? Did we get an edited version of it?
Yeah.
I have no idea. But not just the fact that she edits it in record time and finishes it in record time, I feel like, and also somehow got that footage from the dead guy. Did they loot his body?
I don't know. I think it's just something we're not meant
Did
to question.
Brian or did Mike take the camera from him and take it back to no? Because he walks in, he doesn't have a camera in his hand. I guess we'll never know.
We'll never
So
know.
we get this good moment, which comes like we're in season 8, right? We've battled so many things. We just went through Leviathan. Um,
Mhm.
we're
Mhm.
really gonna delve, especially going into the alpha season, into team free will
Yeah.
versus team fate, destiny. What is it?
Yeah. Team Fate. Team
Team
Fate.
fate.
There's this Team Free Will.
So we get this moment of growth. I really love this moment. I think this is an important moment for the show in general. When Sam is like, "All right, she's got what, a day's head start. We can go get her." And Dean's like, she hasn't killed any humans." And
Let's
like
give
this is
her
where
a
we
chance.
and this is what comes obviously out of Dean being in purgatory and being with Benny, right? Is like maybe not all bads are bad. Maybe
Yeah.
not all monsters are bad.
Maybe
Just
there's
because
some
I am
nuance
bad
in the
guy
world.
does not mean I'm bad guy.
Yeah.
to
There are
quote Wreck-It
shades of
Ralph,
gray. Yeah, let's always quote Wecker Ralph.
anytime you get a chance. So I really think it's an important moment for Dean. I really think it's an important moment for the show
Mhm.
to really start kind of having this notion of like, all right, we've been working with some bads the whole way along. Your Crowleys and your Megs and your Rubies and everybody like that. So like we really got to stop having this our one of our two main characters be so hardlined that everything that goes bump in the night must be terminated.
Yep.
And so we get that moment here where he's like, she pops up, which of course she pops up. We get that. I don't remember, and of course I don't do very good research, so I don't know what episode she comes back in.
I have it here. It's in season 10.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's at least a couple seasons later.
Yeah.
So
It's season
yes,
10.
she comes back in season 10, and Britt Sheridan killing it, just absolutely killing it, doing a great job, and that's the episode. That's Bitten. The boys are just like, well, can't get them all.
Can't win them all.
Can't win them all. Let's go get a bigger Sinsberger. Nope, not a bigger Sins. That was
Yeah.
last season.
No,
Can't
that
get
was last season.
it.
All right, great job.
Yeah. So how did the rules play out, Krissy?
Okay, so I think my counts are going to be way, way off because I realized a lot during this episode that I really like fell into watching it because this isn't one that I've seen a million times. This is definitely one that I have like seen once and forgotten about. So I like really got absorbed into the episode, even though I watched it twice.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like my counts are going to be a bit off.
My so like I will legit my first watch through. I forgot to even like write down rules. I got so into it.
Yeah,
And then I
yeah,
was like, crap. Like I was like saying them as I went along, but I didn't write them down. So then I wrote them all. Then I watched it again, wrote down the rules and everything. And then the third time, I really did have to sit very and like pay attention because I was like, I came up with some rules that you really kind of got to watch for.
yeah.
So,
You do.
and again, the first so it is what it is. So how many instances occurrences of toxic masculinity did you tally up?
I just rounded it to 10.
Okay, I got 12. So yeah, I
Okay.
think right in that ballpark. Perfect.
Yeah.
How many? Look, it's the boys.
I got 7.
I got 8.
Okay. So maybe I can
Um,
count that very first one.
maybe not. How many mirror shots?
Okay, I got 4.
Okay, I got 5.
Okay, and I know that I missed that one that you talked about in the diner.
Not in the diner. You got that one. You missed the or no. No, yeah, that was, you got the one in the professor, the diner. Oh, and then the kissing
I got the one in the shelf. The one in the
on the
bookshelf.
yeah, you got the one in the
I
bookshelf,
missed
and
the one in the diner.
then there was the two, the both Kate and Mike in their respective mirror shots, and then there was the diner, the bookshelf, and then the when they're on the couch and Brian's shooting it from a distance and
Mhm.
gets himself in the mirror. All right, how many smooches did you count at?
7?
I got 7 as well.
Yay! That's the one I was worried about. I was like
Woo.
not sure I was getting all the kissing.
I only got 2 references to the movie.
I got 4.
Oh, okay. See, so you got some. I think I definitely probably missed a couple there. Obviously, I got 4 broken furnitures.
I got 7.
Dang. Yeah. See, this is when you really
I
got to
think
pay
I
attention.
was counting individual pieces of furniture.
Oh, I think I was just counting like times
Oh,
furniture.
they broke furniture. They broke furniture. I was like,
Yeah.
nope, there's a chair, there's a door.
I like it. That's a better way to play it.
Yeah.
Someone dies 5 times.
5.
You have the guy at the beginning,
Okay.
right? That we don't see. He's off camera. We have Scott,
Scott,
the professor,
Professor,
Mike, and Brian. 5.
Michael and Bright. You're right. I got 4, but you're right.
The professor is an easy one to miss.
Yeah, I think you're right. I missed that one
Uh,
for sure.
and then of course we finish our drink at the when they roll the credits at the end when the movie's over and the boys are talking. That's when all the
Yeah.
credits roll, and we actually get like Jensen Ackles pops up like as uh, Kate is like getting out of a truck off the side of the road, and
This was a really good game you put together.
thanks. Yeah, I was really hoping it would do well, and obviously, like, it kind of gave myself a good one to talk masculinity because it's the whole episode. But I don't know how I feel. I like this episode. I like the concept of this episode. I love doing a found footage thing, right? Like by this point, season 8, I feel like we've gone through a lot of the genre work, especially within the horror genre,
Mm-hmm.
or the sci-fi
Mm-hmm.
genre of stuff, and so I feel like doing a found footage makes sense. It's
Yeah.
right at the height of paranormal activity, so like people are
We need
like
a boys' light episode.
a boys' light episode, right? Give Jensen and Jared a break for a little bit. Hire these a really solid job by the 3 kids, at just acting wise and everything. Um, and yeah, it was fun. It was, I want to say, I don't know if fun is the right word. It was good. I liked a lot of the things they did. I just wish if they could remake it, I wish they would just do it with like different characters or like have a different subplot that wasn't this just
Mm.
wimpy guy always trying, and then to like shoving the Lord of the Flies thing in there. I think it's just could have done with all that without all that. Like,
I think they were trying to like make it seem like the movie Chronicle.
okay,
Have you seen that?
I'm not familiar with this movie now.
So it's a found footage movie where a group of kids find like I don't remember if it's a meteor, some sort of alien something that gives them all powers, and one of them is like a film nerd. Michael B. Jordan's in it, and
Oh, okay. I'm remembering like the preview for this movie now.
yeah,
I
and
believe.
then the nerdy kid becomes a villain
Yes. Yeah. I don't.
through his toxic masculinity. He becomes a
Mhm,
villain.
mhm. Yes, I'm remembering that. I don't know if I saw it, but I definitely know I didn't see it, but I remember the preview.
It's pretty good. I recommend it.
Okay, I'll check it out.
All right. So, what's after Bitten is the question on our hands now.
That is the question.
We're going to go backwards again to season 4.
Okay.
Season 4, episode 17. It's a Terrible Life. Are you ready for the rules for season 4, episode 17? It's a Terrible Life.
Yes.
All right. Sam's dreams. We're talking about them or we're seeing them. If we're anywhere dealing with Sam's dreams,
Okay.
take a drink. Copiers and sharpeners. Take a drink. Copier, sharpener. Take a drink. If someone dies, take a drink. If we get ghost breath, take a drink. Take a drink if we're going to room 1444. We're playing the Sammy rule.
Sammy!
Sammy! If anyone calls Sam Sammy, you have to go, Sammy! And take a drink. And then finally, take a shot or double your drink when we see the ghost facers.
Ghost faces.
Ghost facers. And those are the
kitchen when the
rules
kitchen is hot.
for season 4, episode 17. It's a Terrible Life.
Awesome. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's a quirky episode.
Well, it's got ghost facers in it, so
It's got ghost facers in it. It's a quirky one. I don't know what you're gonna think of it.
well, I'm excited to watch it. I love season 4,
Okay.
So
Yeah, season 4 is rich. Rich.
There's a lot in it.
We've done so many season 4 episodes.
we have, and every time I'm going back looking for one, I'm like, don't do it. It's season 4.
Don't do season 4.
We've done so much season 4.
Season 4 is just a great season.
Yeah.
It's a great season.
Never would have gotten season 5 without it.
Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for being here with us at the end. If you are with us here at the end and you want to find out more about Nate and Krissy and where you can find us in the real world and online, visit True Story FM, truestory.fm, and you can go to our Gank That Drank show page, and you can find links to everything that Nate and Krissy are about. You can find links to my other shows on there, including the Most Excellent 80s Movies podcast and the Cool Time Dice Hour. You can find links to the Neighborhood Comedy Theater. You will also find a little portal by which you can become a member. So if you are a member of the episode of the pod, you get the episodes a week early. Ooh. And you get some extra special bonus content, some extra special chit chat with Nate and Krissy at the end of the episode, where we always discuss our lessons learned, and then we just have a little bit of a personal chat.
Yeah.
So if you're here with us at the end, you want that. Go ahead and do it. And if you're not quite ready for that yet, if you're not quite ready to give $5 a month to a podcast you love, then give us a review on Apple Podcasts.
Please give us a review. I actually went back and read the reviews that are on there now, and we need some more.
We need some more. That
are post-pandemic reviews. That's all we're asking for.
Yep. Please.
We just want a review from this decade. Sorry, Krissy. Before we sign off, go ahead. I said this off mic. I said it on mic, but off the record before we started. But I do need to issue the mea culpa from last episode.
Oh, do it.
Per the corrections department, I said that the boys use their agents' names as Rose and Hudson as a reference to Guns N' Roses. They did not do that in the episode Mint Condition. That was in this episode. And that's what happens when you record or when you watch 2 episodes back to back for the show. Back. And you're drinking is you forget which things happen in which episode. So if anyone out there wants to leave a review and be like, this guy said that the agent names were this, but they weren't. Now that can't be your review, and you got to leave a good review.
Or still leave that review, but give us 5 stars.
Yeah, either way, that's fine. Yeah, if you want to say they don't know what they're talking about, but 5 stars, do that. That's fine. As long as 5 stars.
Yeah, and say something nice while you're in there saying something mean.
Yeah, that helps. It's always nice.
And when you're out there in the world saving people, hunting things, leaving reviews, keep the most keep keep the Gank That Drank motto in mind. Be excellent to each other and party on, dudes.
Party on, dudes.